You have to fix the thing.
Okay, get it all straightened out. All right. Well, welcome back, you guys. This is Brent Knox, the podcast. Happy Monday, Feliz Lunes. All you guys who speak Spanish. I don't speak a whole lot of Spanish, but I try. So it's one day I'm just gonna nail myself down and keep doing the Duolingo over and over. And I was doing it for a while, but then you just like, I got to do it every day. Otherwise, you forget it. Anyways. I want to say hi, everyone. Hope you guys are having a good time. Before we get started, I wanted to give you some good news. I have my first sponsor, and I wanted to just kind of show you a product real quick, and then we'll get right into it. But basically, this is for female hair restoration. And so if anyone has a female, I'll show you what it looks like, that wants to do some hair restoration. I don't know a female that doesn't want to do hair restoration. Apparently, these products work really well. And contact my wife, Gabriela Knox, and she can tell you all about it. The person who works with us her name is Lisette Perez. So if you guys have ever worked with her, anyways, contact my wife, and she will give you some more details on that. So I want to start off today's show. And the products are from Colombia. So there you go. How can you? It's good stuff. So basically, on the last show, I talked about me, and I think kind of learning about me, and I don't necessarily want to make this all about me. Of course, we want to learn from other people and want to learn new things. But I think when it comes to my perspective on things, I think it's important. It's just important for me to explain myself. So that way, when we run into issues, it kind of tells me there's a spiritual aspect of how I try to solve problems. The bigger problems, there's a lot of prayer involved. I consider myself a spiritual person. So, and that kind of happened through a series of events that I'm going to explain a little bit. So maybe you can understand. So this is the first thing I say is, I realize doing a podcast like this, the most important thing is just to be honest. I don't necessarily have to tell you everything and every little detail about my life, but the idea is if I'm not honest, then I won't build trust. And if there's no trust, then it's just going to fail. So I want to make sure that everything that I say is true. So I have to be kind of careful with, it takes some courage to kind of explain this part of my life, and I appreciate you guys for listening. And maybe it'll help you. But basically, I was raised when I was young. From when I was a baby, I was raised as a Mormon. I was raised LDS. They called the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. My family was very active in the Mormon Church. So it's I did, for example, I did 4 years. They call seminary, which is where you go to church before school. So in high school, I did 4 years, and I only missed. I had perfect attendance all 3 years, and I missed 2 days out of 4 years. So I went to all the classes, and in that time, I read the Bible 4 different times, and we studied the Bible quite a bit. Also read, the Book of Mormon. So if some of you understand the Book of Mormon, it's a completely different type of scripture, but it all relates to Christianity. So wanted to just kind of show you, see if I can recite some of the Old Testament. I don't know if any of you guys can do this. It would be pretty cool if you could, but it's like one of my only things I know. So let's try to do the books of the New Testament. So we go, oh my gosh. So Peter, wait, how'd it go? Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, the Acts and the Romans, and the 1st and 2nd Corinthians, Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, and Colossians, and the 1st and 2nd Thessalonians is Timothy, Titus, Philemon, and to the Hebrews, the Epistle of James. I'm trying to remember the song that I learned in church. So Peter, and 3 Johns, and Jude, and Revelation. So that's the New Testament. And so let's try the Old Testament. I hope I don't fudge it up. You guys could pull it up on your Wikipedia or something and see if I miss one. So go ahead and catch me. But let's see. We go Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, Samuel, Kings, Ezra, Nehemiah, Esther, Job, Psalms, Proverbs. I think I'm missing a couple. Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi. So I don't know. I might be missing a few in there. So, but that's what I remember about the Old Testament. So, but basically, when everything that I learned in church kind of prepared me for probably the most one of the most pivotal times in my life, which was when I was Mormon. I went to what they call the Missionary Training Center, which is where you learn to be a missionary before you go on your mission. I got a mission call, which is at 19 years old, to go to the Fiji Suva mission. So I was to go down to Fiji, and good news is I didn't have to learn a foreign language because the primary language in Fiji is English. But when I was in the Missionary Training Center, I've been prepared to kind of pray and to learn to just how do you pray? And you can ask God for things. And I never thought about that. Like, how can you ask God? I mean, he's so powerful. I mean, why would he tell you? But the thing I really realized is that God does want you to ask. He wants you to have the confidence to ask. And so that's what I did. I asked him if he existed, basically, and if the Book of Mormon itself was true. And what came over me, and I had a witnesses there. It was just unbelievable. Every little what do you call the goosebumps and all my body just stuck up. I started to just cry. I was just so happy. I just felt like I never felt like that before. It was an amazing feeling, and all I was doing was asking God if he existed and if the Book of Mormon was true. And so I knew at that point, and it basically had established a communication between me, so I could and God, and so that I can pray. And when I get that good feeling, which it just can't be replicated. It's not like the devil or something bad could just take over and suddenly just giving me these feelings. So from then, I kind of use prayer to guide me, especially on the big things. If I'm going to go do something, just to pray about it, and it kind of leads me up to what happened next. I mean, people ask, well, how come you're not Mormon anymore? How come you don't go to the LDS church? And it was kind of a series of events that happened to me, and I wanted to share that with you. So basically, when I went to Fiji, the Fiji mission, I was when you go on a mission, you're supposed to you go for 2 years. So you go for a 2-year mission. I went to the Missionary Training Center in Provo, Utah for, I think it was about 3 weeks, maybe a month. It's almost a month. Luckily, so I didn't have to stay too long because I wasn't learning a foreign language. But I went into Fiji, and when you get into Fiji, I had a companion. I was in a city called Tavua, which is what they call the Burning West. It's on the west side of the island. And basically, when you go to the Missionary Training Center, they teach you that you have to watch out for your companion. You see, the Mormon missionaries are always together. There's always 2 of them. And you say, well, that's because we're supposed to look out for each other. And if you go on your mission and if your companion is doing something they're really not supposed to do, you have to tell. Otherwise, it's on you. Both of you could get sent home just for not telling something that was pretty major. And when I was in Fiji, my companion at the time decided they went on what they call a split. So they said, okay, here's my companion. You guys go hang out. And the 2 Fijian guys left, and I don't know what they were doing. I mean, they were going out at night. I heard they were with women, or I don't know what they were drinking. And out there they drink a ceremonial drink called kava. So they're smacking kava, which you can look that up in Fiji. It's where we get Novocaine. So Novocaine was synthesized from this root. That it's a ceremonial thing, and it's like the national drink. They drink that more than we drink beer in America. So they were going out, and what happened was it would make you useless the next day. So if you did it, it would just numb your brain, pass out, you'd be useless. And, the next day, and, my companion would come back, and, I'd have to go look for him, or he'd come back and he'd just be tired, and we couldn't get anything done all day, which is bad in itself. But, I had to say something. I was trained, you have to say something to someone. And I don't know, looking back, I don't know that I could have just keep my mouth shut to this kind of stuff, even though I wasn't 100% perfect either. But so I asked the area leaders, and then they said, we don't know. We're going to talk to the AP. We'll ask him what to do. And then I was in my flat, and all of a sudden the van comes up. The assistant to the president took my companion and the other companion, the two Fijian guys. I mean, these were big Fijian guys. You're muscle bound. I don't know if you've ever seen Fijians. They're like Samoans, but they're darker. They're not as big, but they're fast, and then they're super healthy people. So these two guys were pretty big guys. So anyways, they were gone. I was with the other companion for an hour or two, and I just remember they came back, and the van came back and dropped them off. And then right when the van left, he told the other guy, he said, close the door. And they decided they were just going to beat the hell out of me to get me to not ever do that again, to not tell on them and tell what had happened. And so, they just, and I cried. I prayed to God that he would keep me alive. And here I was getting beaten up by two Mormon missionaries, which was just, I couldn't understand it. And they beat me up, and basically they broke one of my ribs. I didn't know at the time. It was just in a lot of pain. Luckily, they didn't hit my face or anything. I guess they didn't want to leave any marks. So after that, they stopped beating on me after a while. They just kind of decided, and then, just sitting there just crying, sobbing on the floor. And my companion comes up and says, okay, get dressed. We have to go do a baptism discussion. So an interview for someone to get baptized. And I was just so perplexed by this whole thing that he could just switch gears like that after just beating the living crap out of me. And he basically said, if you tell anyone, we're going to cut your dick off, which is exactly what he said. And I just, promised him I wouldn't tell anyone. And they figured that was it, like dummies, right? So we get in the car, and we go to this building, this house. And he says, oh, it doesn't look like he's here. I said, yeah, let me go around the back and look for him. That's right. Yeah, let me go around the back. So I went around the back, and I just started running the other way. I just kept running straight and running as fast as I could. And I saw a taxi going up a dirt road, and I followed it, and they were pulling some people out. And I said, and the guy was looking at me funny. I said, can you take me to Suva, to the capital? Because I know where I need to go. And he says, yeah. And I said, can you take me now? And then so he says, yeah. So he got rid of the luggage, got rid of the people, got me in the car. And when I got in the car, I told him, even if someone tries to flag you down, you don't stop. You understand this, right? You don't stop. He says, okay. And he says, I need you to take me to the Mormon mission president's house, basically. He told him where to go. I got there. And then the mission president himself, which he was an older gentleman, and his wife, which is typical in Mormon missions. They have usually an older couple being the mission president. It's like he didn't believe me. I went in, I was just crying. I told him what happened and everything. He says, they were so repentant when they came, and I don't understand how they could be like that. And I said, well, I don't know. It happened. And, so basically they put me in a house where nobody knew where I was. I had 4 guys watching over me until they can get me on a flight to get me out of the country. And from there, I went to a mission in Minnesota, and I went to my new mission president, and I told him, I'm in pain. I told him what happened, and it's like he didn't believe me either. And they told me that the church wasn't going to pay for my naproxen. They were going to pay for the X-ray, but they weren't going to give me, any of the medicine or anything. It was just a weird situation. So at the end of the day, I mean, when it was over, I was in Minnesota, and I didn't care at that point, because it seemed like, because my girlfriend at the time, she wrote letters and sent them all over the place, to the mission president, to the president of the church, to, everyone. And, I found out later they flew some area presidents down there, and they found out that this had been going on with not only me, it happened before that there had been natives that were sending their companions. See, they take a native and they would pair him up with an American, right? So the natives can kind of show him around. But they were losing their temper and beating up their companions. It was happening over and over down in this mission. And so I found out, after the fact, they didn't send these two missionaries home. They just kind of reprimanded them, told them you better not do anything like that again, which is just silly, right? I mean, they're ticking time bombs. At that point, I didn't care anymore. My new mission president kind of put me with a new companion. I did okay. I did great there for a while. I got a new companion, and I was just kind of missing home, and I didn't have the passion anymore. So I told my girlfriend at the time, why don't you come and see me, which you're definitely not supposed to do. So she came up, and my companion basically ratted me out, right? So he told them, and he told the mission president, and basically he says, you don't sound like you have any remorse for what you did. I said, I don't care anymore. I'm out. I just don't understand how this church can put people like this in harm's way. So when I went back to church the next day, or the next Sunday after I flew back, and that Sunday it was testimony meeting. I wasn't scheduled to speak or anything, but testimony just means you get up. We're Congregationalists, or we're the church is a Congregationalist, and you just get up. And so I just told everybody what happened. And I said, I can't really deny that the Book of Mormon isn't true, but because I felt that, and I still believe that to this day. It's just I can't trust the leaders of the church, and so I walked out. I walked out of the church. I walked straight down from the pulpit, and I never went back. And after that whole thing, I had to do a lot of soul searching. I had to figure out, before I had this church now to hold on to and to follow everything they told me to do. But now, like, what am I supposed to do? So the answer was I had to just constantly pray. And I've been, praying ever since of what to do and where to go. And it's pretty interesting sometimes, what comes out of it. Like, you just get a good feeling when you know what to do. So next thing I was kind of talk about is, a lot of the major issues that I hear about, or that people hear about. I've been praying about them, or I prayed about them in the past, and I just kind of have my own view based on those things and all the information I get. So I wanted to go over a few ideas and things that I believe when it comes to things like, let's go over one of them, like gender transition. Like, can a boy be a girl and a girl be a boy? Everyone's talking about this. It's pretty standard. But for me, I think that everything I hear is, the gender is a made up word. I mean, there's the sex of human beings, or sex. There's either male or female. And if you want to, be feminine, that's fine. You want to be masculine, that's fine. But it all comes down to your chromosomes. You can't change your chromosomes. It's impossible. You can mask who you are and everything, but we're in a period right now. It's called gender dysphoria. So I believe that. I believe that the proper way to help people is, if they want to make believe, let them make believe. But if it's not healthy for them, sometimes it's more healthy for them to just know the truth that they're a man, or you're a woman, and you're always going to be a woman. If you want to, physically mutilate yourself, that's up to you. But a lot of those things they're irreversible. So the other thing is, I want to talk about, well, I'll just give you a few more. We can go over some more. How about people will tell you that Trump is a racist, or someone's a racist. I always ask them to define race. What is a racist, right? So a racist, and you look it up, and what a racist is, a person who believes that someone is better because of their color, or because of their lineage, or because of their heritage, where they come from, and it makes them better than other people. And that's just not true. Human beings, have evolved. They've evolved in the jungle. They've evolved living in different places on the earth. That's why some people have, the larger nose. It happens when you're in a warm climate. It's just, but they're not, there's nobody is better than another person. And if a true Christian, I believe, believes that, like that God created man, Adam, the first man, and which is different. It's a wholly different species and a different creation than anything he ever created. So I think that was important for me to mention that what a racist really is. And, there are racists, and sometimes you can have a racist view to think, oh, this person, look how they squat down. Look how like that Vietnamese person just squats down and typically white people don't do that. They just stand up straight, right? They don't squat down that low. But the thing is, they a lot of those people for generations, they're raised in either big cities with lots of people, or in the jungle where you have to stay. There's reasons why they do that, and it's cultural. It's how they were raised, and it doesn't make them or you any better than anyone else. Namely, it probably gives them better muscles, because all those older people can crouch forever. I have no idea, but wanted to talk of a few more things. I'll just go over a few more points. Like Black Lives Matter, everyone talks about, the Black Lives Matter, and I don't really care what the core is, right? The core, everyone says, they're doing this and doing that, but it just starts with the race. I think basically we need to take race, gender, all the tribalism out of everything. And I know it's hard for some of these people that went to colleges and universities who taught, hey, my school is better than yours. Well, really, what makes it better? No, it's just tribalism. They've been trained to kind of go against people, saying they're better than other, and people are just not. You're just not. So just make sure that you watch out for this stuff. The minute people come on and tell you, men or women or this and that, men and women are different. They're different. They're programmed different. Their brains are actually different. And so just watch out for it. That's what I'm going to do, is just keep my eye out for anytime they try to bring up and try to separate people using race. The other thing is, I've seen stickers. So like one of them is like not of this world, right? Have you seen those stickers? And I don't really want to dog what other people do, but, I prayed about that. And I said, and I basically said, this is my cat wants to say hi. Oh my God. She's having a good time. Say Haley, because she came from the roof. She came from the sky. So anyway, so I mean, just remember this, and sometimes words will come when you pray. Abdication from your fellow human being is not the Jesus way. It's not the Christian way. It's not how Jesus. It's not how Jesus taught us. It's that you. And let me tell everyone a little secret that I believe is that the righteous own this land. They own this world. And you hear when they talk about the meek shall inherit the earth. Guess who the meek are? That's you and me. That's people who believe in Jesus, who follow the idea that says, because look at the Bible. What's the Bible going to tell you? Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not bear false witness. What if you're in a war? What if people are, if you don't lie to these people, they're going to kill you, or you have to shoot that person, or he's going to kill, your people and that's why Jesus came, is love. If you look at it and you say, well, I love the people who love others. I love the people who care about the sanctity of life. A lot of times you have to choose sides. So just remember that, like, the Bible was the old way and the New Testament is the new way. And Jesus came in and he just said, if you pray and you do the right things, I will tell you how to do things. And I think it's in every one of us that we can, we could do the right thing if we just pray and think about it. So that's pretty much the topics I wanted to cover. Like the same topic goes to homosexuality, right? In the Bible, it says homosexuality is evil, but you don't know what trials and tribulations people are going through. You don't know. It's not your job to judge them. And it's not even necessarily your job to help them if you're not sure of what you're supposed to be helping them with. It's your job to love them. and to say, I just want what makes you happy. And I think if we all adopt, we work more on adopting those kind of things, then we'll realize that it's the only way to go. It's the only way that humanity can survive. The closer we stay to prayer and Jesus and the things that we, our Creator, the better off we're going to be. The farther you get away from God, the more that you're going to die, and your brain will start coming up with ideas that just won't make sense. They will seem to make sense, but they will lead to nowhere. So here's another section I wanted to talk about, and I hope this doesn't ruin a movie for people, but I like to kind of talk about some little things that they throw in. You guys have all seen the movie Forrest Gump, right? So in the movie Forrest Gump, it's a great movie, a lot of good stuff in it. But there's one piece that really bugs me. I mean, basically, if you look at this movie or you look at life in general, people say, oh, you're so negative about this and that. Well, it's because a million things can make something work, but it only takes one to screw it all up. And the problem is there's so many movies where everything is perfect. But the premise, there's one little thing, and with Forrest Gump is the story of a guy who got ahead because his mom put out, right? That's what his mom did. His mom put out for an administrator. Okay, look, if you're Tom Hanks, why can't you just say, look, I'll do this movie, but you got to cut that scene out? It didn't make sense, and the whole thing, I was like, even after watching the first time, it was like, that was kind of weird, but you just kind of keep going through it. But when you watch a movie like that, and some of that little stuff just starts to stick in your head, like, why did they put that in there? And you got to be careful with Hollywood. They're putting so much crap. We're realizing more and more how evil they actually are. A lot of these people, and it's not all of them. So you have to really analyze the message, I believe. So there you go, Forrest Gump. I hope I didn't ruin that movie for you. So that's pretty much, how I came to my spirituality is I had nothing. I was left with nothing, and I just decided to do it this way. And I think that will give you a foundation for why I believe what I believe. Like a lot of times I just get a really strong feeling and go in that direction and just do it. And if we have tough questions in life, if I do, I know for a fact I could just, pray about it and the answer will come. And you can actually I demanded answers because, this creator created me and I just wanted to know. So I hope you guys enjoyed this story. We're actually adding more. There's a lot of phases to the podcast that we're going to be adding videos so I can kind of talk about little things and get your input. I got some really good ideas for some topics we can go over as well, and we're going to be talking about some of those things. But I really do believe that we can start just from having the courage to stand up and talk about things. And even though it might offend people or whatever, if people, they go to church or Mormon, great, and every time I ask, I kind of pray about, how am I supposed to treat like people that are Mormon or church members? It's like, and Jesus says, don't worry about that stuff. I just get that feeling, just don't worry about those little things. Just treat people like people. If people treat you bad, you can deal with it, but treat people, like they're connected to God because God created all of them. I guess the last point, there's a few points that I was made. I was just writing out these things and I was crying about it, because I know that when I get rid of, and I have courage, and I get rid of all this stuff, like, well, what are people going to think about me? Just saying, you did these things. And my wife has taught me to just be fearless. And at the end of the day, at the end of your life, I just want to die with a smile on my face, big smile on my face. And I don't think I'm going to do that if I'm hiding away and just not telling people what I really think. And then also not listening to other opinions. So that's why I'm going to do this. Is I want to die with a big smile on my face, knowing I had the courage to stand up, say what I believe, and when it comes to issues or technology, anything, any political stuff, religious stuff, just voice your opinion. And it's not that you don't care what other people think. You can care. I want to care what you think, but it's not necessarily going to change the way that I think. So I hope you guys, I thank you guys for joining, and I hope it was good. I know a lot of times you don't think that what you're going to say is going to resonate with people, but all the praying and all the thinking that I did, and I didn't necessarily think my podcast was going to start off being so spiritual and religious, but I think it's important to have a foundation of what I'm talking about and why I'm talking about it. So my angle is you have to love each other. It's love is first. And what is the love answer to this issue, that issue, and so I'm going to go through the issues as I can, the biggest ones that I think are the most important. I love to give my opinion and after I hear other people's opinion, but to hear your opinion as well. And that's pretty much it. So thank you guys. I know this was mostly just about me and spirituality, but in the next sessions, I'm going to go over some things. I mean, I want to talk about my mining, what I've been doing with looking for gold, and where I am with that, and some of the things that are interesting to me as well. So on my next podcast, I'm going to be kind of explaining what I've been doing in the mining world, because I've been kind of addicted, or I'm getting caught up in looking for gold and prospecting. So I'll kind of have some visual aids, and I'll show you some stuff and what I'm doing now. And I'd love to get your feedback, and I'll show you some of the things that I found. I have little pieces of gold and some other stuff. So thank you all for joining. And I see a lot of comments, so I'm going to respond to those comments and like those comments, because it doesn't matter. Even if you want to give an angry comment, I don't care. I'm going to like it. If you have something to say, I'm happy to answer you. If you want to ask a question, feel free to instant message me, send me a direct message. But this is the third show, and thanks a lot. And of course, don't forget my new sponsor. If you do have a female that wants to try some hair restoration, contact my wife, Gabriella, and she will give you more details on how that works. And she's shaking the thing. Next time, she's going to take the bottle and attach it to the cat. We'll actually just get a little outfit for the cat, so they can walk by she can walk by like a moving billboard, because I think on every session the cat is going to come up and visit. So that's Haley the cat. So thank you very much for joining, you guys. I'm going to respond to your messages, and I'm going to pray for each and every one of you. And I just hope that we can all find the way together. Okay. Bye, guys. I just hope that we can all find the way together.